I moved back to the UK and I was like, fuck this, I can't live here. 50 years ago, you would get a job and you might not be rich, but you would have a nice life. It doesn't exist anymore. And I used to train fucking 2-3 times a day every single day. I know what it feels like to feel good. So then I know what it feels like when I don't feel good. Yeah. But most people don't even know what it feels like to feel good.
So what would you tell him?
It's a very hard question. Life is a simulation, and if you can crack the simulation, you can have anything that you want.
As you see, guys, I'm here in Marbella with Luke. Luke, for everyone who doesn't know you, especially from the German listeners, imagine you're in Vienna at an event we are hosting, and someone is coming to you and say, hey, nice watch, who you are, what you do. How would you introduce yourself in 60 to 90 seconds?
60 to 90 seconds is quite a long time, but I would say, my name's Luke Barnatt. I'm an ex-UFC fighter. I was sidetracked by fighting, but I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. And since my fighting career has ended, I've gone on to start lots of different businesses, both in the real world and online as well. Nice and short.
Nice and short. So is there anything today that like scares you or keeps you up at night, even after doing that many fights, doing business? Is there anything like that still gets you maybe nervous?
Nervous? I'd say the only thing that's an interesting question. The only thing that really scares me now is my children. The only thing I'm really worried about, the only thing, like, once you have kids, it's a whole different world. Doesn't matter how prepared you are. Even when they're just jumping around on the sofa, I'm afraid. So yeah, them being hurt, I don't worry about myself so much, but my family, my kids and the people close to me, that keeps me up at night sometimes. And really how the world is now, how soft the world is, and how I have 2 daughters that are growing up in this world, and the fear of how it's going to continue to go in the direction that it's going in, and how they're going to navigate as they grow up. They're only 6 and 3, so they're very, very young. But in the next 10 years, who knows where the world's going to go?
Sure. It's really interesting. Everything is changing so fast. So how you handle it as a father, like with kids in Marbella? So I know there are good schools, but do you homeschooling, or what's your plan to do it?
My plan is to homeschool. Currently, like I said, my kids are young, so they go to primary school, we would call it, or whatever, nursery. Like in Spain, they go to school super young, but they don't. My daughter is 6. In September, will start her first official year of school. But I put them in a Spanish school, the Spanish primary system, because I think they learn Spanish like perfectly, and they integrate with the local people. And I live about 20 minutes outside Marbella in a place called La Cala de Mijas, and they go to school there. It's a good school, but it's not like amazing. But it's just for the social side, the language side, and to see what the real world is like. So I think they're making them connections. Then when they turn 10 or 11, when they should start going to secondary school, that's when I want to draw them out, and I want to homeschool them, and I want them to learn from me and my family. My mum was a teacher for a very, very long time, so I want her to guide and teach my children. She's also a Jehovah's Witness, so she's like very strong Christian morals. I mean, not quite Christian. She might be upset when I say that, but for the viewers, so they understand. So she'll teach them the right things about life. And then depending how my daughters go, I would like them to spend all day with me. Like once they're 11, 12, 13, I'd take them. They can study for 2 to 3 hours and then come to work with me, whatever that is, whatever business I'm doing, whatever I'm in. I would like them to learn on the job at a very young age. That's kind of my vision for it. My wife might have something to say about it. We'll see. But yeah, that's what I'd like to have happen.
So Marbella is a beautiful place. So if you've never been here, you need to check out Marbella and the podcast studio as well. So. But what's interesting, so I know a couple guys who moved out here or spent the summer here, and almost everyone got robbed of them. So it's crazy. Not everyone, that would be like too much, but I know 3 guys personally really well, and one just early this week, because I wanted to do a podcast with him, and they got their watches and everything. But there are also a lot of people living here and there never happened anything. So what do you think about like safety in Marbella?
I mean,
for me, it feels safe.
It's safe as your friends, I don't know them, are probably flexing, boozing, drunk in the middle of the night, being dickheads. So crime happens everywhere. I mean, you could say it doesn't happen in Dubai, but it does happen in Dubai a little bit, not a lot. But it happens everywhere. And it's the same in London. It's the same in Vienna. It's the same wherever you go in the world, especially in Germany now. If you're out late at night and you decide to get drunk and go around and flash a nice watch and be driving a nice car, it's dangerous. So we talk a lot about this, or I talk a lot about this, about safety. And the problem with a lot of people is they want to, especially, you come to Marbella trying to get pussy, you're trying to meet girls, trying to have fun, you get on social media and you look at bottles and watches and I'm driving a fast car, look at me, I got money, come hang out with me. But the wrong people see that. And you tag your location wherever you are. You have no sense of danger because it's very safe. And then all of a sudden you're walking down the street and you get robbed. It's because you're putting your life all over the internet in the wrong way. And all you got to do is wait 3 days and post what you did 3 days ago, and then everything's fine. It's like a top tip for anyone making money, anyone progressing in the world that wants to show off. Okay, you want to show off. Showing off is fine. Just don't do it in the moment. Do it 2, 3, 4 days later. And the cool shit that you're doing today, you post in 4 days. And what you did 4 days ago, you post today. So you're still keeping your social presence alive and all the rest of it. But the problem is these guys, your friends, I don't know them, want to get pussy now, today, in Marbella, from Marbella. So they're like, I'm here. I'm in La Plage de Casanis. I'm in Memento. I'm in these hotspots. I'm in Now Pool Club. Because then they think other people will see them and they have contact. Yeah. That's the only reason they're doing it. So if you're young, trying to show off, yeah, it's dangerous. If you drive a nice car, sometimes you get followed home. Like it happens, you know. I've lived here. I mean, I'm also an ex-UFC fighter and 6'6" of what cauliflower is. But I lived here 11 years and I've never seen one bit of trouble. I've never once seen someone get robbed. I've never been attempted to be robbed. I've never lost anything, nothing. So for me, it's super, super safe. But yeah, like I think the people that are flexing are the ones that have the problem.
Makes sense. So why did you choose Marbella over Dubai, Miami, Ibiza maybe? There are many places. Why Marbella?
Well, I used to live in California. So I lived in a place called San Diego. Very, very beautiful place.
Me as well.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah. So you know it. I lived in La Jolla. It's like a very, very nice area. And I lived down by the docks as well. I can't remember the name of it. The Marina. There was a pizza restaurant there and all the boats. I actually lived on a yacht for like a year and a half, like living there. It was a good life and a nice place. After being in San Diego, I was there for 2 or 3 years. I moved back to the UK. And I was like, fuck this. I can't live here. So I looked for like the most Californian type place. And my mom ended up moving to Barnatt, which is about 40 minutes away. So I came out with my mom to see my mom on holiday and with my wife, and I just never went home. So that was 11 years ago. Oh. And then I slowly moved up the coast because I started in Malaga. I lived in Malaga to start with, worked at a gym there. And then I started my own gym in Torremolinos. Then I moved to La Cala. Then I started different businesses and I moved down the coast and now I'm here. So
what do you like about Marbella? Because I understand it feels similar to especially San Diego, because San Diego has like a little bit this Mexican vibe as well. So, but what would you say for someone listening? Why should they consider Marbella?
I mean, if I have to convince you, then you've not been here. That's the best way to describe it. When people come to Marbella, they fully understand. For me, in the world that we live in now and the dark, horrible, disgusting governments that run the world, and whether I go to anywhere in Europe or I go to the UK or I go to Austria or I go to Germany, I feel this like dark cloud of pressure and this dark cloud of totalitarianism. I don't know if I could say that word right, where you are being told what to do, how to live your life. You have to follow the rules, otherwise you get fucked. That is everywhere now in Europe, especially places like Austria, Germany, and the UK. Whenever I go back home, the moment the flight lands, I feel like the energy, everyone I look at are like grey in the face, like don't like their life. They've been sucked dry from everything else. So that doesn't exist here in Marbella. What I would say is the people here, if you've managed to make it here, kind of like Dubai is a level above, but you'll normally have an entrepreneurial spirit. You've normally gone through some stuff. You normally have some stories. If you're not just here to party, a lot of people just come here to party. But if you're here and you're living and you're trying to make something happen, you normally have some stories. You normally have a bit of money. You have a bit of a background, and you have this energy, this vibe that doesn't exist for me in the rest of Europe. And there's certain places that still have a little bit of freedom, but Marbella is not Spain. Like it is, but I almost imagine it like Monaco. Like Monaco is not a part of France. It's Monaco. Like Marbella is like that, but it doesn't officially have the title. Yeah. It's still underneath Spanish law, unfortunately, but it feels like that. Every entrepreneur in Europe will come by here, and it's kind of becoming one of the top 3 or 4 places, like you said, Dubai, Miami, Marbella. It has that similar vibe. So if you've not been here, I try and explain that it's like Miami and LA had a baby and it lived in Spain. So it has like a Hispanic flavor, multilingual, multi-languages, a lot of people that have got good business sense, and it's chill. It's very, very relaxing, maybe sometimes a little bit too relaxing. And when it comes to running business here, it's very, very difficult. But to live, I don't know anywhere better. I travel the entire world. Well, I haven't been to South America, but I mean, I know I don't want to live in South America. I've never been, but I'd say I don't. Everywhere I've been, I always look forward to coming home.
So you reinvented yourself many times through your career. Like you were a fighter, entrepreneur, commentator at events, a coach, everything. Basically, you could do, or you tried a lot of things. So what would you say in nowadays world, what defines a man in a world of like weakness, where a lot of guys are really weak, they're scared to do new things like you did and many other things?
I mean, so to define a man is quite complicated, but yeah, I've done a lot. I've reinvented myself a lot of times. And I think if I understand the question, I think reality is now 50 years ago, you would get a job and you would work that job for life, and they would look after you, and you would retire, and you get a good retirement package, and you could feed your family on that salary, and you might not be rich, but you would have a nice life. You would live in a nice house. You would have, everything would be nice. You'd have nice holidays. It doesn't exist anymore. You can't get a job unless you become an engineer or a doctor, and even an engineer and a doctor, they're not making incredible money, but they're living a good life, a good standard of living, if you want to call it that, for a 9-to-5 kind of lifestyle. But before, any job you had, you could work in a newspaper. You'd still, you would feel pride in what you do. That's dissipated, gone. Now the strength as a man has to be in many things. You can't just do one thing. Life and the world is going to progress, and you have to progress with it. The whole age of AI and what's happening, and it's just getting faster and faster and faster. And the people that have the flexibility to change and to become different and reinvent themselves and do different things, and they're the ones that are going to succeed, in my opinion, because you have to be able to change and move. If you're stuck with one belief system, or stuck with one industry, or stuck with one type of job, I think you're going to be left behind. Now the world and the internet, obviously being the main driving force, has changed the way the world works. And there is so much more money now, that there's so many people now that have so much money. And because you can go on Instagram and you can look into the lives of millionaires because they're showing it and because they want to sell you a course or whatever, it's like you see these lifestyles and you want it. But before, when you worked your 9-to-5 job as a plumber, and you had your house and you had your wife and you had 2 kids and life was good, and you went out once every couple of weeks and had dinner, you were content with your life. People aren't content with life anymore. They want more, because they see these levels of wealth, right? And I think the man that can adapt, and the man that can change, and the man that can do many things. Yeah, they used to say, what was that phrase where you say like, so you're good at many things, but a master of none, or whatever it was. Yeah, but that's kind of completely, now you need to be good at many things and not be a master of none, in a sense, because if you're a master of one thing, you just get used by the entrepreneur that can employ you and take all the money, So it's definitely changed the world. And I think to become a strong man in society now, you need to be pliable. You need to be able to change. And that all comes down to your relationship with fear. and how you look at fear and how you see it. And if you're afraid to try new things and do new things. There's a Dana White video, which is fantastic, where he talks about, if you work a 9-to-5 job, try something else. You can always go back to that job. That will always be there. Try and do something else. And I think he's talking about, I believe he used to work in hotels. And when he worked in hotels, he decided to start the UFC, and now he's a billionaire. That would never have happened if he didn't try and start the UFC. So I think if you're working a job that you do not like, try something else. The worst that will happen is you go back to the job that you hate. You know, it's like, there's no reason you can't do something different. And I think that mentality where you're not worried about taking the losses, and you always have that safe bet where you can go back and be a hairdresser, or you can go back and work in a supermarket, or you can go back and be whatever your 9-to-5 is. Try something different. And if it fails, no problem. Who cares? Failure is a part of life, and you're going to go through it. You do the next thing, and hopefully the next thing works out. You know, but the average person, they want safety, and they want to feel like, I don't know. I don't understand the mentality of them, to be honest, but that's kind of how I see it. Modern man needs to be able to move.
Yes. So what would you say can like young men, but men generally, learn in the fight gym or when you're fighting, what they learn there, but nowhere else?
I mean, I think I talk about the fight gym a lot because it's obviously what carved me and created me. And I really think back on it and look at my life. And I think the thing that you learn most in the fight gym, or especially in the MMA gym, but fight gym as well, is you learn how to, there's like 3 tiers of competition. And you learn how to listen and be coached. So you become coachable. And when you're coachable, you learn new skills that you didn't know before, and then you refine those skills. So you're like, I've become a coachable individual. Then from being a coachable individual, you then, which is probably the most important thing, you understand real competition. So you go into the gym and you understand, if me and you fight or start at the same time, and we're training every single day, I want to be better than you. And it's a physical act where I have to beat you up, or I need to submit you, or I need to punch you, or whatever it is. And you're trying to do the same to me. We started at the same, so I need to progress quicker than you. For me to progress quicker than you, what do? I have to train harder, learn more, study more, get better quality sparring, better quality training. But whatever it is, I learn that. So I learn how to compete, which is very, very, very important in life. And the world is telling you not to compete. You learn that in the fight gym. You join a fight gym, you'll find that guy in the gym. My guy used to be Jack Mason, who was the guy that took me to the gym, that I always wanted to beat. And I could never beat for years and years and years and years and years. That's the guy. So he taught me to compete. And then you learn and you learn the skill of teaching others. So as you progress through the fight gym, and I would use jiu-jitsu as an example, although I'm not like a huge component of jiu-jitsu, but they have a belt system: white belt, blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, black belt. The white belts learn from the blue belts learn from the purple belts learn from the brown belts, everyone learns from the black belt. So it's like, when you become a blue belt, you start teaching white belts. So you understand that in life, you only have to know more than the guy below you to teach. And you become very, very good. I've been teaching mixed martial arts now. I've been doing mixed martial arts for 19 years. I've been teaching it for 15. So it's like, you learn that skill. So we say the 3 tiers are the mentor, the peer, and the mentee. So you've got the mentor who's going to teach, so I could be your mentor in fighting, but then we might compete on business. And then I might learn from you on another part of life. So you learn those 3 skill sets. And if you are good at those 3 things, good at learning, good at teaching, and good at competing, you can do anything in life. So I think the fight gym teaches you how to be successful across everything else. And it does it in such a real way that then has a byproduct of becoming in better shape, becoming harder to kill, and becoming intimidating and gaining confidence. So you learn you learn the most important parts of life, which is how to learn, how to teach, and how to compete. And you have those 4 added extras that are just byproducts of becoming good at the thing that you're doing every day. So there's nothing better than joining a fight gym at a young age. Even though, like I said, at an older age. I'd say the cutoff point is probably like 45. If you're 45, going to a fight gym, it's probably a little bit too late. You can still do it. And there was guys at my old gym that were 70 years old, but they've been training a very long time. So if you're 20, and you do not go to a fight gym, you are missing so much from life, because it's so real and the ego is destroyed, and you have to accept things, and you have to learn, and you have to fucking bow, and you have to say, yes, sir. And you have to say, this guy is better than me. And you can't be Billy Big Bollocks is how we would describe it. You have to listen. So yeah, I mean, I could go on more. I told you I like to talk, but that's
it's great. It's great.
So yeah, the fight gym is everything.
So personally, for me, it was the gym first. So I was never good at sports, but I started with the gym when I was 16. I had a bad time, did a lot of dumb stuff, not the best people around me, a lot of crime, everything. And the gym changed everything for me because I got addicted to it. I started first day, I started to lose weight. I started to train 2 times a day, changed my nutrition, stopped smoking weed, and I was really focused, and I learned just to be disciplined there. And I had a bodybuilding coach back then who pushed me to my limits, like weekly, like really, I was throwing up, training legs, but it was amazing for me to develop myself, the discipline, like eating at the same time, the same thing, like for 2 years was crazy. So, and then a little later started boxing through Montana. So, because we grew up together. And I found out, okay, that's the next step combined with what I already have that helps me a lot as an entrepreneur. And now I'm telling everyone, like, just do it. Just like get a coach, get a program. There's so many options. And there are so many young guys who are weak, who are scared of everything, basically, or most things, speaking in front of cameras, speaking in front of people, fighting everything. And that just boosts your confidence, like you couldn't imagine. Basically.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that a big shout out to Montana as well. I sparred with him. He's a fantastic boxer. Very, very good. Southpaw, pain in the ass. That might burn your eyebrows off, so be careful with it because it's pretty strong. But it might be out of gas because I might have used it all. But yeah, I believe everything you just said. And that's one of the reasons I put together Cornerman, which is the application I use to coach people. That's because great. I did one-on-one mentoring for a very long time. But I didn't have the ability to reach so many people. So now I do it on like I use technology and an app and everything else. And I basically do exactly what you just said. Your journey there, where your journey starts with bodybuilding, looking in the mirror, quantifying what happens to your body, meal plans, prepping, blah, 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 blah. And you see it, and then you transfer that over into the fight gym. So I went the opposite way. I started with the fight gym. And fighting was what made me want to diet and made me want to get in shape. I've never been a guy that looked in the mirror and wanted to be big and strong. It's never been my mentality. I just wanted to be the best fighter possible. But it taught me a lot about everything you just described. So I found that with the average person, because I'm a little bit of a psycho, especially when it comes to fighting, they want to get in shape, they want to look good, and they want to feel good. So I have multiple layers to my app, and the first layer is physical fitness. So when they come into it, I do check in with them once a week, and I check their body, their weight. They do progressive pictures like everyone does in the apps, and I can see, because the biggest thing about motivation or pushing yourself is the thing with bodybuilding is straight away you can see the development. So after 3 weeks, you should see a difference, and that keeps you going. Whereas with improving your mentality and improving your fighting skills, it takes a lot longer, and it's more internal work than external work. So I was missing this piece of the puzzle. Now I have the Cornerman app. We start with physical training, getting in shape, and you spend 6 weeks doing that. And then you get on a good start. And then we then layer on fight training, mentality training, all these different things. So I think a lot of people like the bodybuilding side of it and getting in shape. But what really matters is the depth to fight training that you only really understand years later. And I talk about fighting a lot. Obviously, so I commentate for Octagon in Germany, which is or in Czech Republic and Germany, which is the biggest event there is now. And those guys competing at that level, they understand it. But it's an exchange of energy. And what happens when you're an early fighter, you don't know how to control your mood. You don't know how to control your breathing. You don't know how to control your heart rate. You don't know how to control your energy. So you go into a fight or to sparring and you're tense and so it teaches you to have confidence in yourself and in your body and in your energy and in your breath. So by doing that, you then realize it's not as bad as you thought it was. Getting punched in the face actually isn't that bad. Looks bad, and you might end up with a face like mine and ears like mine, but it actually ain't that bad. Your body is more capable than you could ever imagine, especially if you're one of these pussies at home who doesn't do anything. You don't even understand the capabilities of your body. And another thing is most men or boys now have never known what it feels like to feel good. Because from the age of 15 or 14 or 13 or 12, they're sneaking wine, drinking spirits, like whatever. Then they're doing drugs, smoking weed, doing whatever they're doing. And they're corrupting their body from a young age, not training, eating shit. And then they get to 25 and they don't even know what it feels like to be good because they drink every weekend. They do drugs every weekend. They never train. They're a fat slob. And when they draw that all back for like 6 weeks and they eat well and they train every day, that they understand, oh, fucking hell, I feel like a god when I'm in shape. And I have this unbelievable energy and I feel fantastic. They've never even known what that's like. So for me, who's a man who spent most of my life sober because of fighting, and I used to train fucking 2-3 times a day every single day, I know what it feels like to feel good. So then I know what it feels like when I don't feel good. Yeah. But most people don't even know what it feels like to feel good. So they wake up and they think, oh, I feel good today. But they were like 20% of their capability because they were drinking 3 days before, they were eating potato chips, they were sleeping for like 10 hours or whatever. Like they don't have rhythm in their body, don't understand circadian rhythm, they don't understand nutrition, they don't understand anything. So the levels you can improve your life, just your everyday life with movement, diet, and understanding, everyone watching this who doesn't train or doesn't eat right or drinks at the weekends or whatever, they do not even know how good they can feel. So when you wake up and you think, oh, I feel good today, you still feel like shit compared to what you could feel like. That's just how it is. I don't know what the question was, but I went on a bit of a rant.
That was it was a great answer because you got into that, and I think it's a big issue nowadays. And I talk to young guys, I have young guys in my team, and they're definitely not the normal young guys because they're training, they're working hard, but there are many guys struggling. So mental health issues and more killing themselves than ever before. What's crazy and sad to hear actually, because we basically have the easiest times now. Yeah, what shows that comfort is not the answer to have a good life or to develop yourself.
You got to think you have 24 hours in a day. Let's say you sleep well, that's 7.5 hours. I mean, you could do 9 if you're training hard, but 7.5 hours is enough sleep. Some people can do 6, but the average person should do 7.5 hours sleep. Let's call it 8 just to make the maths easy. You got 16 hours left. You have to dedicate 1 hour of that to physical fitness, to pain, to suffering, to doing something hard. And then the rest of it will add 10 years to your life, and it will probably add 30 better years to your life, like your health. You have lifespan and you have health span. So your health span will grow with 1 hour's effort every single day over 24 hours. So what I never understand about these guys that you're talking about, these weak guys that want to commit suicide and all this bullshit, is like, just go to the fucking gym or go for a run or do something hard for 1 hour. The rest of the time you can be a useless piece of shit. But 1 hour of a day, just try. Even if you go and walk on a treadmill, it doesn't have to be doing fucking burpees and, split squats and all this hard shit. It could don't have to be fighting. Just go for a walk. Spend 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 90 minutes on your physical aptitude and your body every single day, and tell me you're depressed. You're not depressed. The reason you're depressed is because you eat shit, you watch shit, and you just stay at home and do fuck all. So depression is absolute bullshit. If I don't know anyone who's depressed, who's chasing a goal, who's working hard, and who's in great shape. I don't know anyone. Find them for me. Tell them. Introduce me to them. I'll have a conversation. Most of the people that said committing suicide, because being a man's hard. They cry. They fucking get tired. They sit around and they don't do anything. Go to the gym an hour a day. Suffer an hour a day. Push yourself an hour a day. Rest of the time you can jerk off and do whatever you want. I don't care. But 1 hour a day, go to the gym. Your life will only get better. You'll look better. You'll feel better. You'll be stronger. You'll have more cardio. Everything about your life will improve. So it doesn't make sense to me that people don't sacrifice 1 hour a day to gain 30 years That's what it is. Like 1 hour a day will give you 30 years of health span. That's reality. And you can smoke as many cigars as you want if you're suffering for an hour a day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense to me.
With a rule. So I'm living basically in a hotel with my team and the business partners, and with a gym there. So outdoor and indoor. It's great. So we are going to the gym like 30 seconds. So it's really easy to go to the gym for us. So, and with a rule, cigars only if you train 2 times a day.
Okay.
So we do cardio morning, and then we do either gym or boxing. So
you train twice today?
Yeah. Today I trained once.
Oh, but you got cigars. So he's
the day is not over.
Okay.
So actually, that's a good point. So, but we like stick to that. So if you have a cigar, or if you go out for dinner and have a big steak, we always say, okay, you need to hit a certain goal this day, these tasks and everything, and then get the steak. So you have like a goal, basically you're working.
I mean, this is a great mentality. I don't know exactly where I learned this, but what you're saying is you basically reward the hard work, and it makes the reward feel better. So I went through a period in my life where I made a bit of money and I thought I was the man, and I used to go out to a restaurant every single night, and I'd eat loads of shit, and I'd drink cocktails and blah, 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 blah. And I did it 5 times a week or something like that. And it completely lost its whole appeal. Going to a nice restaurant and eating a nice steak means nothing because I did it every night. So if you don't earn that, it actually is worthless. It's like having fucking oats. Going for a nice steak is the same as eating oats, because you don't get that dopamine rush from, oh, this is nice. Doesn't exist because you do it every single day, which is where we want to be financially. But even once you get there financially and you can afford the steak every single day, you should earn it, and it should be a reward, because then you sit there and you're like, I earned this. When you eat it, your brain understands it in your body, and you feel more nourished. You feel better about yourself. You feel like you achieved more. It's like a trick you play on your system, right? So this is something that is extremely, extremely valuable when you start making it a little bit. You know, when you start making 10 grand a month or 5 grand a month, and you can afford to go to these places every day, then you need to put these little tricks in place. Otherwise, you just go to them every day and they lose their value, but you're still spending the money. So it's like, to keep the value there, you need to add that caveat of, to get this, I need to achieve this. You know, it's a very, very clever thing that you're doing.
So you had a fight. I think you got knocked out in 21 seconds. What's fast, but how that moment shaped your mindset and yourself as a person? Because winning is great, but losing and having hard moments that's what really makes you grow, right?
Yeah, I talk about this fight a lot because it's heartbreaking, and even thinking about it is heartbreaking. This fight was with a guy called Marbella Khalidov, who is a legend in Poland. Basically, he was ranked number 7 in the world when I fought him, and I trained like a fucking madman to fight this guy, and I was convinced that I was blessed by God to beat Marbella Khalidov, and I was definitely capable of it on the day, but. That fight was my first fight back in the UK for a while. I was main event in Manchester. I sold shed loads of tickets for my friends and family, my wife's friends and family. They're all in the audience. I was the last fight. They had to wait to the last one. I went out there, 21 seconds. So you can imagine how down I was after that. And that, I think, broke my heart in a way that I could never. That was when fighting was over for me. That's when I should have stopped. I didn't. I had another 10 or 9 fights or whatever. But I never really put my heart and soul into a fight again, because I knew it was over for me. So when you say how it shaped me, I always talk about how fighting gives you the hardest moments in life and the best moments in life. And it's so real, and it's so visceral, and that was the first time I'd ever been knocked out in my life. So it was I'd lost fights before, but they'd all been decision, and they'd all been close, maybe apart from the Mark Munoz fight. But that was still a good battle. And then, I think that taught me, when you talk about reinventing myself, I think that taught me that I needed to do that. So it was like a light bulb that went off, that I was like, I can't keep doing this forever. I was this good. I think in my highest ranking in the world, I was ranked number 21 in the world at middleweight. And I'm never going to get back there again. When I lost to Khalidov, I was like, okay, because if I'd have beaten Khalidov, I would have been top 10 in the world. That's why I took the risk. And I was like, never going to get back there again. I need to start thinking in different ways. So it made me start pursuing different things and looking into different things. But yeah, I think it was the beginning of the transition out of the fighting game. That's what I think it was. But it was hard. It was really, really, really hard. Losing sucks. Losing in front of people sucks even more. Losing in front of people when you told everyone that you were going to win sucks even more. Losing in front of people when you went on TV and told them everyone you were going to knock out Mehmet Khalidov sucks even more. Being main event, it sucks. It sucks. It was horrible. It was fucking horrible. But yeah, that's what you have to go through. So you have to take the big risks to get the big rewards. Sometimes you take the big risks and you get fucked. And that's what happened to me. So I think I learned, again, although I never really pushed in fighting again, it's because I realized I was getting older and all the rest of it. It taught me to take those big risks and that was possible. And even I was fully convinced I was going to win. And I mean, fully. In the change room, I was laughing, I was enjoying, I was happy. I went into the cage, I was looking at him, I was like, I'm going to fucking smash this guy. My whole mentality was perfect. There's no excuse. I was in perfect health. Everything was amazing. It's probably the best I've ever felt going into a fight. And it's the worst I've ever performed. Yeah. So, yeah, it taught me that things don't always go the way you think they're going to go. And you need to adjust. And that's kind of what I've been doing ever since.
Yeah, so the reason why you didn't stop fighting is also the reason why you became that good, right? Because you have this never give up mindset. You get to that point. You wouldn't go there in any, like in business, in fighting, if you didn't have that mindset to never quit, even when shit hits the fence.
I think one of the big things that's missing from most people, like young people, old people, whatever, is the feeling of achievement. So I think most, you're right. To be good at anything, you have to go through hardship. You have to go through losses. You have to do everything else. But for me, when I left fighting, not even when I left fighting, once I got into the UFC, which I had my first fight. I'm not going to get the dates right because I never will. But I had my first fight when I was about 19, 20, something like that, years old. I fought in the UFC on my 25th birthday. So it took me from not knowing how to throw a punch to fighting in the Premier League of Mixed Martial Arts 5 years. Technically, it took me about 4 years because I was on The Ultimate Fighter a year before that. But by the time the TV show had come out and everything else, I was like 24 when I was on The Ultimate Fighter. So within 4 years of taking up a sport, dedicating my life to it, moving into the gym and sleeping on the floor and doing everything physically possible to win, I was in the UFC. Most people don't have that feedback, that accomplishment feedback of being like, I dedicated myself to this and I got it. Because they never dedicate themselves to it in the first place, right? But once you have dedicated yourself to it could be anything. Could be sport, could be a degree, could be anything in life, a business. Once you feel that success, you start to see that little tear in the world where you understand whatever you do in life, as long as you give it everything and you commit to it, you will achieve that thing. So it makes you much more willing to try things. Because I know if I dedicate my heart and my soul to something, it will get done. Might take me a year, might take me 10 years, but it will get done. So once you feel that achievement and that curve and that arc, you're like, okay, I can do anything. And that's when you have the confidence. So a lot of men talk about how do I become confident? How do I talk? Probably like, how can I walk up to women and talk to them? Do it 10,000 times. Walk up to 10,000 women, they'll tell you to fuck off, you ugly cunt. And then you don't care anymore. And then you do it and it's easy.
Yes.
But doing the first 10 is hard, right? So it's the same with everything. If you just continue to do something over and over again and you truly believe that you can achieve it, you will achieve it. It sounds gay or whatever, but that's life. So the problem people have is fear and pride stop them from even trying. But if you try, and if you try for long enough, you will achieve it. And the people that have achieved anything understand that it's possible. But if you never achieved anything, you are a certified loser. The only way to break out from being a certified loser is to achieve something. So when someone comes to me and goes, I've not done anything in my life, fucking do something. Whatever it is. It doesn't have to be the thing that you want. And that's the other thing. Most people, let's say I want to become an architect. I want to be an architect. That takes 7 years of university, 7 years of study, college, whatever, blah, 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 blah. So on that journey to becoming an architect, if you start moving the ball, you start doing the things, and you you might become a civil engineer off the side of it and be successful in this field. But originally you were trying to do this. There's that. Everyone talks about how life isn't a straight line, right? I'd say it's different than that. Like you don't go like this, you go like this, and then you end up somewhere you didn't even think you were going to go in the first place. But at least you end up somewhere.
Yeah.
So other people don't even try, so they just go backwards, or they go like this. So when you get the ball moving and you're trying to achieve something, like become an architect, you might end up becoming a cage fighter. I wanted to be an architect when I was a kid. That's why I bring it up. So I wanted to be an architect. I went to school to study construction. From studying construction, I met my friend Rory. Me and my friend Rory wanted to do submission grappling. We started doing submission grappling. I met my friend Jack. Jack got me into cage fighting. I moved into my gym. I got in the UFC. But it all started from wanting to be an architect. So when I got into the UFC, I wanted to be an architect. So it's like most people, they don't even start moving the needle. You know what I mean? You got to start moving the needle. You got to start trying at something, whatever it is. And you might be like, oh, it's too hard to become an architect. I'll never get there. Well, then you don't do anything.
Yeah.
But if you start down one road, doesn't matter where you end up, it will just be better than where you are. And the thing you spoke about, the Mehmet Khalidov thing that almost makes me cry every time you mention it. You say like, without that moment, I wouldn't have this moment. So I lost in fighting. I didn't become the best in the world, which is what I wanted to be. I didn't get to top 10. I didn't become a fucking quintrillionaire from being a UFC champion. But I still live a pretty sick life. I live in Marbella. I run multiple businesses. Money's good. Life's good. Family's good. Like a lot, but it all comes from that. You know what I mean? So what I'm trying to illustrate is no one knows where your life is going to go. You can't dictate where it's going to go. But if you put your energy, your heart, and your soul into one thing, life will be better than it is right now. That's all I would say. Like, I think if you get the motion going, you get the movement going, you will find a way if you truly believe in yourself. Again, I don't know what the question was, but sure. I gave a little speech. I'm in a talkative mood today.
So, because we're in Marbella, so there was one story you told when Andrew visited you in Marbella. And you talked about, like, he sat down with you and had a conversation and said, hey, look what you achieved. Look at your mindset and everything. Look what you can do. And that was like one of the inspirations for you, or like, yeah, the moments when you start to change something business wise. So, or how was that conversation and how did it change for you after that?
The thing, it's so hard to recollect because it's a long time ago. Obviously, I remember it. He was doing the rally. I can't remember what it's called, the car rally through Europe. And he basically just said what I just said in a different way. But he was like, you don't understand how average people are. That's how he basically said, the average man living his average life. You are not average. What you have achieved is incredible. But you don't believe that because you are surrounded by other people that have achieved exactly the same thing. But if you go and meet Barry down the pub in Luton, who's done fuck all with his life, you are 100 times further ahead than he is, right? But you've done it in one very, 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 very specific field. So you need to spread your wings a little bit and you need to understand what you are capable of, which is basically what he explained to me. But he did it in a much more zen way because the way he talks is incredible. And he like put me on a path and he said that he wanted to help me and he's helped me. Like, you got no idea how much. I couldn't even put into words how much, not just financially, but mentally and pride wise and a lot of different things. And he mentored me for a long time and spoke to me. I'd go see him every couple of weeks and he would sit me down and see what I'm doing. And it wasn't so much like he would say, do this, make this. Like people, again, he just put me on the path. And because he put me on the path, I fucking walked the path because that's what I do. Yeah. So I walked the path and it all worked out. But that conversation was a moment in my life which I could have become a gym owner and just done personal training, one-to-one personal training. And that would have been my life, or I could have gone the entrepreneurial route and done whatever. But he basically explained my value, and it comes down to self-talk, like how I talk to myself, how I value myself, how I look at myself. And the road that I always talk about that he put me on is he told me to join the War Room, which back then was a small group of individuals. and to talk to his cousin and get into crypto. And from getting into crypto, again, this was fucking 8 years ago. I don't know how long ago it was. That was when Solana just launched. So whenever Solana launched, that's when I got into crypto. Maybe about 6 months before Solana. And I bought Solana at like a couple of bucks. It was like $2.50 or $5 or something like that. And within being in the war room, I met other high achieving men in different industries that were making a lot of money. And I sat with them and I spoke to them and I was like, this guy's a fucking idiot. I could do this. You know what I mean? And I don't mean it in that way, like talking down about him. I just mean, again, like I just said about fighting, you don't realize how much your body is capable of. I didn't realize how capable I was until I meet these guys that are making tens of millions, but they're dumber than me. Mm. They don't have the same energy that I have. They don't have the same intention that I have. So if I put myself in any field, UFC, whatever, I will succeed. That's kind of what I worked out from that. And then because of the circle and how high level it is and how well they're doing, you know, I know I said they're dumb, but they're not dumb. Yeah. It's like I learned so much about the world that I never even knew when it comes to business and everything else. And I tell this story and it's maybe funny to you, especially to your audience, but fighting was all I knew. Fighting was all I cared about. So everyone I met in my life up until this conversation with Andrew, he was like, you don't need to worry about fighting anymore. You need to worry about the rest of your life, right? And I was like, yeah, but if you can't, whatever. So I did a 180 or a 360 or whatever you want to call it, and I didn't do any fight training ever again. I do a little bit, but like I didn't spend loads of days fight training. I focused on other stuff. I went to dinner with these guys, and they were talking about funnels and talking about back end and funnels and whatever. And I was like, sitting at dinner, eating my steak, quiet. And this is when it comes down to you talk about fear and other people. And I'm obviously an ex-UFC fighter, little bit of have a aura or whatever you want to call it. And I got this guy sitting there talking about funnels. And I'm like, what's a funnel? Mm. They're like, a sales funnel. What's a sales funnel? Because I had no idea what this was because all I'd cared about was fighting. But I wasn't afraid to ask the question and to look like an idiot in front of these prestigious men that make lots of money in sales funnels, And the thing I learned, at a certain level, if someone's at a certain level and they're good and they're doing well, they want to help people. So when I said, what's a sales funnel? He spent 2 hours, showed me his fucking catalog, showed me his back end, showed me his sales funnel, explained to me what it was, how it worked, the automations, And he like blew my mind. I didn't do anything from that because it was too much information. Yeah. But he gave me his fucking playbook. You know what I mean? Because he wants me to win too. Because that's what the war room's about. Everyone winning together, right? And I was like, cool. Now I have sales funnels. Back then I didn't. But I learned from that conversation with Andrew and from him introducing me to the war room and me spending time with other high achievers. I learned so many different industries and different perspectives, rather than just my own, because I looked at the world through my own perspective. And that's something that most people do. They think about themselves and they think about how they'll be embarrassed about whatever. But they don't think about some 15-year-old kid who doesn't have a dad, who's at home, who's, lives in Birmingham, wants to get out, but doesn't know how. They don't think about that guy. They think about their perspective, and their perspective doesn't matter. Your perspective on yourself doesn't matter. Other people's perspective on yourself is what matters. So I just buried my head in this world, and I just fucking work. And I'm still I'm in my opinion, in the business world, I got nothing special. I'm nobody. I'm just fucking a hustler, trying to work, trying to achieve, trying to do new things, trying to do big things. But I've been doing it now since I was 32. So I'm 37 now. So 5 years. 5 years I've been focused on making money. Before that, I was focused on knocking people out. So it's a very different transition, but I did knocking people out for 20 years. I've been trying to make money for 5. So even the knocking people out thing, I didn't care about money. UFC started paying me money. It wasn't about the money. It was about the knocking people out thing and trying to be the best fighter in the world. That didn't happen. Now, hopefully, the money thing will happen a little bit better than the knocking people out thing did. But yeah, so that moment with Andrew, and I can't explain it, and no one will ever understand it. But the thing about leadership is being an example to other people and then them finding their own way. What most people think, like some people think Andrew would have said some special words to me, and I would have, what can the guy say? He say, fucking work hard, study this, do that. Like, he can't do it for me. So he just made me understand that my perception of the world is not the only perception of the world. And if I learn other people's perception and I understand other people's desires, I can then make something of myself and reinvent myself and be somebody different. And I have done that in the last 5 years, probably 20 times. And I'm probably going to do it again next week. Yeah. Like, it always changes, but I get into interesting situations and I do fun things. So it's life's never boring. That's another thing that he said to me. Luke, you're never going to live a boring life. Trust me. Your life is always going to be interesting because you're an interesting guy. So, especially if I'm hanging around with those guys and doing cool shit, life's good. You know what I mean? So
what are you focused on business-wise? Like, nowadays, you have the Marbella podcast studio, yes. You have the coffee shop, but what's your main focus? You have your app you talked about. So what you're into?
So what I focused on for the last 5 years is building infrastructure. So you mentioned the podcast studio. I meet you.
Yeah.
So it's great infrastructure to meet people. So I network through my own business. I have a coffee shop downstairs. Perfect for networking. Perfect for meetings. Perfect for other people coming to see me. Today I spoke to like 20 people. They're just in the coffee shop. And one of them might be a good contact. I don't know. They might be useless. You know, it doesn't matter. But building infrastructure for other people is almost like, if I can offer value to others in the way of a podcast studio, in the way of this or whatever. I also have a cigar club. So I have an online cigar club where I educate people about cigars. I also have a physical cigar club here. We're sitting in there right now. This is where we meet every single Friday night, 7 p.m. We smoke cigars and we discuss business. You have to become a member. And it's called the Casa Cigar Club. Super, super, super interesting. Through that infrastructure of building the studio and building the cigar club, in the last 3 months, I've probably met 4 billionaires and 2 very, very, very wealthy people in different industries, and a golf coach who's helped me with my golf because I'm terrible at golf, and all these different people. So I focused for a long time on building infrastructure, and I'm still now from that infrastructure, I'm focusing on building community. I help Andrew with his online community. I've been helping him for 5 years, and now I'm like focusing on my own community, like physical community, not online community, but physical community, and building that out with a coffee shop and a podcast studio. From those things and from building out that infrastructure and from having this studio, I have managed to attract the right sort of people to come to me without me having to move. So last year, probably a year and a half ago now, I had a Hollywood director come to the studio. His name's Joey Megahertz. And he came here with the vision of making a movie, and he was looking for a place to edit his film. So he wanted to sit in my studio and edit his film for 3 months because he thought, I can edit the film, I can come out here, I can smoke a cigar, I can go back in and finish editing my film. What a beautiful place to work and to live for a while I edit this movie. The movie was a love story about a kid that lived in New York, and then from living in New York, moved to California, met a girl, she turned out to be crazy, like every woman is, and it goes through a dark path there. I won't spoil the film. It's called A Beautiful Kill. And I said, Joey, bro, why don't you make the movie about a kid from New York moving to Marbella? And then we could film the thing in Marbella. So that's a good idea. We rewrote the script. I now become a producer on the film. So I'm now a producer on a Hollywood movie that will be shot in September in Marbella that I will facilitate through my infrastructure of having a studio. So I met Hollywood directors. From there, I flew out to Miami and I went and met a guy called Lee Kaplan. And he's the head director or the lead director, or whatever you call it, of the movie Ali with Will Smith. So he directed Ali, and he also runs film and what do they call it? News. It's not news. Journalism. Sure. Film and journalism school in Miami. He runs that. He owns it. He runs it. He's a big wig. He's like blue blood Hollywood guy. So I met Lee Kaplan. I'm now in those circles with the highest and the best of whatever. I'm meeting the CEO of Netflix next week in Marbella because we're trying to do a deal about X, Y, and Z. So that came from building infrastructure. So again, a lot of young kids, they're trying to think, and this is like when you offer services that people like a podcast studio, the amount of influencers that come through here, I get to meet the best influencers in the world because they go to Dubai, then they come to Miami, they need to shoot a podcast, they come here, I get to meet them, shake their hand, get to talk to them. If they're interesting, I become their friend. If they're boring, I tell them to do one. But it is what it is, right? So I built this infrastructure. My business partner now, Bradley, he met me because he was trying to find a podcast studio. So he came to the podcast studio. Now with him, I run a couple of businesses and everything's going good with him because of the infrastructure of the podcast studio. So everyone's, you run a podcast studio. How do you make money with a podcast studio? Not about money. It's about people. I meet so many interesting people from having this. This place used to be a lost leader. I used to use it as my office. I have a podcast studio to make my own content. I pay the rent every month. It costs me $3,000 a month. But from it, I've now done this, right? So again, it's having a long-term vision rather than a short-term vision. And having the first podcast studio in Marbella is helping me, right? Then you said, what's my main focus now? Again, with the app, I was missing infrastructure for the app and I was missing the technology. At a cigar night, I met a guy called Leonard and he used to work for a company that did that. I now have an app because he runs it for me. Done. So I now have an app. I have a whole infrastructure where I can scale my online business because of a cigar night here. Another business. And the main focus for me right now is obviously to make the movie, make the movie, sell the movie. And there's a piece of real estate in Estepona that I'm going to buy, which is worth 8 million euros. And I'm going to develop and it's going to become the heart of the movie industry in Marbella. So that's what I'm trying to do now is build out sound stages and movie studios to make Marbella like the home of film in the whole of Europe. That's my goal. It's a very big goal. See where we get with it. But first step is make the movie. Second step is buy the real estate. Third step is attract other films to come here to shoot. It's the most beautiful place I know. It looks like California. You got sunshine 10 months of the year. You can shoot here and it can be Texas. It could be, if you go to certain places, it could be bloody Afghanistan. You go to the fancy places in Marbella, it could be Miami. Like you could be anywhere in Marbella and you could shoot here. You couple that with some tax incentives in Tenerife, which is another partner I have. It's 45% tax incentive to make movies in Spain. So if you want to make a movie for $10 million, the government will give you 4.5 million back, just in tax incentives. So I have a hub here for the perfect thing. You want to make music videos, you want to make adverts, you want to make film, you can make them all in Marbella. So that's the big energy is going into that project because it looks like a whole new reinvent myself career where I can be within Hollywood and I can be within making movies and a good industry and a fun industry. So that's my main focus. But if you ask me about side focus, I have about 20. But that one's a good one.
Interesting. So as a final question, really interesting what you do and what you're focused on. And what I personally like, you explained something like building infrastructure, getting people around you, having a network group, having a community, and people are coming to you. Mm-hmm. So I do similar things in a way, and it's helped me in always, basically, not just business, massively in Vienna and all over the place. And buying into networks and groups is a great thing, and building something for yourself as well. You need to be that type of guy. It's you can't just start without having any background or being a certain persona, but when you build yourself up to a certain point, you always can start your at least small group in your town. You go out for dinner once a week and you be the guy hosting the dinner with the interesting people, and people are coming. So when you need to build it up. So it's really interesting also with the vision about the basically the Hollywood of Europe. And it fits really well because the weather, it has California vibes. So if you could go back to 25 years ago or 15 years ago to your younger self, and you can tell him something in 15, 20 seconds, some advice, something, what would you tell him?
It's a very hard question. I think I'd have to try and because you only get 20 seconds, I'd have to try and send him down a rabbit hole. And the rabbit hole I would try and send him down is none of this is real. Life is a simulation. And if you can crack the simulation, you can have anything that you want. And that all comes down to how you speak to yourself and if you believe in yourself or not. Because if you believe in yourself and you do what you're fucking supposed to do, anything is possible. And I know people say that all the time and The Secret and da. But if you believe in yourself, anything is possible. The hard part is actually believing in yourself. So it's like, it's easy to say, it's hard to do, right? So I think fighting was the best thing for me. And I think if I'd really, truly believed in myself, which I didn't, I would have become world champion. I didn't become world champion because I didn't truly believe in myself. I wasn't good enough, and that's because I didn't believe that I was good enough. I know it sounds retarded, but if you truly believe in yourself, everything comes down to belief. And you said about being the guy that brings people together. I think to bring people together and to be an inspiring figure, you have to have achieved something, right?
Sure.
So for me, it's easy. I can have a room full of people and I can talk about UFC.
Yeah.
Everyone's interested in UFC now because of Conor McGregor and da. So I have this thing. I have almost like this magic dust that I can talk to people about UFC. If anything, even though I'm fucking 37, I haven't had a professional fight in 5 years. I was still there in one moment. I met Dana White, I shook his hand. What was that like? I met Andrew, I shook his hand. What was that like? I have this appeal, right? The only reason I have that appeal is because I fucking worked hard for 20 years. And that's the bit that people miss. That's the piece of the puzzle that every fucking young guy watching this or young entrepreneur misses. They want a cheat code. There is no cheat code. The cheat code is pick one thing and become fucking good at it. And the thing that I picked was to become an architect. Ended up being a UFC fighter. So it doesn't matter what the thing is. Pick one thing and put your whole heart and soul into it. And then after you've achieved something, whatever that one thing is, you can do anything. So I've gone from being a specialist, focusing all my energy on the UFC, getting to the UFC. I did okay. I had 9 fights. I won 8 of them, or I lost 3, 4, won 5 of them. So I lost 5 out of 4 I won, but it's still at the highest level. People love it, whatever. Was on TV, built this personal brand. But from that, I can now Gatling gun and do 1,000 different things because I believe in myself that I can do anything. So it's achieving that one thing that matters. And most kids, they don't want to achieve that one thing. They want money, they want bitches, they want fame, but they don't understand. That all comes if you achieve one thing. You can become the best fucking coder in the world. You can become the best editor in the world. You can become good at poker. You can become a UFC fighter. You can do whatever you want, as long as that one thing you excel at. So once you excel at that one thing, life becomes easy. But you have to excel at that one thing. So that's, I think the hardest thing in life is understanding and deciding what to do. That's the hard, for me, when I was in the UFC or not even the UFC, when I was sleeping on the floor and I was training every day and I wanted to be a UFC fighter, life was the easiest, most simple thing in life. And I was happy. I woke up every day. I slept on the floor. I ate like chicken and rice every day. I fucking trained and was in pain, trained 6 hours a day, was in absolute agony and pain. I loved it. Life was amazing. It was simple. Now life is complicated. Because I have all these responsibilities, I have all this, and I've set the target now with the Hollywood thing, so I'm now focused completely on that. But it's picking that one thing. And like I said, the original thing I picked was to become an architect. So just pick that thing and go for it, put your energy and your life into it, and see where life takes you. The people that lose are the people that don't even pick the thing and don't even do nothing, work for somebody else, and just sit on their ass and don't do anything. Development comes from trying, right? So it's like, as long as you try at one thing and you eventually get there, might take you 10 years, might take you 30 years to actually achieve anything. Once you achieve that one thing, life becomes easy. But focus on that one thing and pick that one thing and don't change. Because then you become mediocre at a lot of different things. So I know I said before, like back in the day, you could do one job forever. And now you need to be able to do multiple jobs. But you still need to be good at something to be able to inspire others to come together, to do the networking thing, to do all these different things. And if you don't know what you want to do, join a networking group, join a fight gym. If you join a networking group or you join a fight gym, you will meet other people that you attach to, and you become the sidekick of some guy who's doing something really cool. Then that becomes your personality, and then you get good at that one thing. Maybe you outperform that guy because you look at him as a nemesis and you become better than him, and then you're better at that one thing, and then you can do whatever you want. But joining a networking group or joining a fight gym, doing something and investing in yourself, everything is good. There's no downside. The downside is you have to pay for it. But if you have that mentality where you're scared of paying for things, you don't have any money, you'll never have any money. It's like you have to fucking spend the money. You have to. I do a lot of mental coaching and I do a lot of physical fight coaching and fitness coaching. And that's always the problem. People are afraid that, and that comes down to self-belief. If you got $5,000 in your bank and you don't believe you're going to make that $5,000 back, you're never going to do anything. Just fucking go take your missus out for a nice dinner and just accept that you're a loser. Or take that $5,000, pay someone, as long as you pick the right person, or even if it's the wrong person and they scam you, you still learn. So it doesn't make a difference. Fucking take that money, pay for some coaching, or take $3,000 of it. There's a guy called Rob Moore. And I saw a video of him today, which I thought was really, really good. Some guy was like, if I want to get into property and I've got 10 grand, like, what should I do? He said, spend 6 grand of it, educating yourself, going to meetups, like joining clubs, whatever it's going to be, education, invest in yourself. The other 4 grand, spend on dinners and spend on flights and spend on meeting people and talking. And then all of a sudden you'll have $0 or £0, but you'll know about how to get investment, learning about arbitrage, learning about property, learning about how to scale, learning whatever. You'll have education. And you would have made contacts from the 4 grand you spend on dinners, go to the nice places in London, speak to people, go to the best gym in London, speak to people, make contacts, canvas investors with that 4 grand. Boom. Now all of a sudden I've got education, I've got investors. Because you're never going to buy a property with 10 grand. You're never going to buy a property by saving your pennies. But you might if you educate yourself and then you meet the right people. That was from Rob today, but it's the same. If you've got 6 grand, 5 grand, spend 4 of it on joining the right club, on going to the right gym, on doing whatever you're going to do to meet the right people. Because ultimately, the world is about people. The government is run by people. The police is run by people. Like investors, when anyone who's been successful, the number one skill that they have is they can get investment.
Yeah.
The number one skill you need to become a billionaire or a multi-millionaire is to be able to get investment. Because no millionaire spends his own money on a project. They spend other people's money on a project. They leverage other people's money to make money. So how do you leverage other people's money? You become an interesting individual. You excel at something. You can network. You can meet people. And you can say, hey, bro, give me 200 grand.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, no problem. Now, I'm going to do it next week. I'm going to buy that real estate next week. I need 2 million quid if you know anyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that would be my advice. No, it's longer than 20 seconds. But my advice to my younger self would be, remember, this is a simulation. You can have anything you want in life as long as you dedicate to yourself to that one thing. And that would send them down a rabbit hole. And then you could look at numerology, and then you could look at all these other crazy things in the world that you can try and add the numbers together, and you can work out that you get whatever you want as long as you put the effort in, and as long as you achieve, and as long as you work. That's basically it. It's a good way to end.
Nice. Great one. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time. Guys, see you next week. Impact Millions podcast, Monday, 6 p.m.
Every week.
Every week. Sure.
Smashing it, mate. Fucking, that's good.
Has to.
Yeah, that's good.
See you. Bye-bye.